It's Derby Day in Ohio. We've come to the suburb of Cleveland, to Thistledown in North Randall, where for the 55th time they compete for the prized East India Cup and the richest purse ever offered for thoroughbred racing in the Buckeye State, $300,000. Budweiser racing across America. Today, live from Thistledown, it's the 55th running of the Ohio Derby. This ESPN sports presentation is brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By the Breeders' Cup, racing's $10 million championship. The DeBartolo Corporation, building today for the next century. Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, relive the legend. And by Keeneland, source of the classic horse. Stay tuned next for the Ohio Derby, live from Thistledown.
For taking charge, for taking pride, for showing what you got inside, for taking time, for staying true, for stepping in, for coming through this buzz for you.
Beechwood aged for the taste so crisp and clean, so refreshing. It's the king of beers.
This buzz for you.
You love to win the way I do? This is the place to be. Exarban.
Attention horsemen. Exarban presents the $200,000 guaranteed Cornhusker Handicap. The 24th running of this 1 1/8 mile Grade 2 stakes race for 3-year-olds and up will be held Saturday, July 29th. Nominations for the Cornhusker Handicap close Wednesday, July 19th. For information, call Larry Kraft, Racing Secretary at Exarban, 402-556-2305.
For more than 4 decades, the Keeneland Thoroughbred sales have produced a parade of classic winners, including 39 American champions. Horses purchased at Keeneland have won all of the classic races worldwide and the richest prizes in thoroughbred racing. 1988 champions Winning Colors, Risen Star, and Ali Sheba all were bought at the Keeneland sales in Lexington, Kentucky, source of the classic horse.
The Eclipse Award of Merit, the top honor in thoroughbred racing, was presented this year to Edward J. DeBartolo, the leading owner of thoroughbred racetracks in America, featuring Remington Park in Oklahoma City, the most innovative facility in the history of racing, Louisiana Downs, home of the $1 Million Super Derby, and Thistledown, the newly remodeled showpiece for the Ohio Derby. Remington Park, Louisiana Downs, Thistledown, the 3 jewels that crown the Eclipse Award-winning DeBartolo Corporation's commitment to the sport of kings.
Welcome to Ohio and the Buckeye State's richest and most important day of racing, the day they run the historic Ohio Derby. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln as we welcome you on ESPN to Ohio's Derby Day. Working with us are experts on thoroughbred racing, Dave Johnson and Pete Axel. Dave will be calling this 55th renewal. You know, the Ohio Derby certainly incorporates and highlights some of the racing history of this Buckeye State, dating back to the first Ohio Derby of 1876. They've run this race at 6 different race courses around the state at 3 different distances, and such stars of the turf as Black Gold, Fine, Traffic Judge, Smartin, and recent day multi-millionaires as Broad Brush and Lost Code have put their stamp on Ohio thoroughbred racing. Let's take a look now at the conditions of our race this afternoon, the 55th renewal. It is a Grade 2, $300,000 guaranteed, making it the richest purse ever run for by thoroughbreds in Ohio. 1 1/8 for the 3-year-olds on a track that opened the day as slow after week-long rains in the Cleveland area, but is now listed as fast and said to be favoring those that have speed on the rail. And of course, we have speed in this field. That's a big story of this race. Let's meet the field now and our experts. Let's go to Dave Johnson and Pete Axel in the paddock.
And if you think the good 3-year-old racing has stopped because the Triple Crown is over, you have another thought coming. A competitive field, tough to pick a winner, Pete.
Well, the public here will be picking King Glorious. He'll be the favorite. He's a California flash, had a tremendous fall last year, but a lot of those horses that do very well in the fall in California don't reproduce their form. You think of Capote, Roving Boy, those kind of horses. The question now is, can King Glorious bring that California glitter into mid-America?
And King Glorious has never raced outside of California. Now, Mercedes One is well-traveled. He races about every other week, and you couldn't forget his big victory in the Florida Derby where he was the wire-to-wire winner, but he may have trouble getting to the lead.
Well, one reason for that is interesting horse in the field, Caesar, undefeated in 4 starts, his first stakes attempt, but he's trained by the crafty Cajun Bert Saunier, and he's ridden by Pat Day, and we know Pat Day doesn't chase too many empty wagons into Ohio.
You know, the most interesting horse for me is Charlie Barley, who was 3rd in the Lexington, beaten only 3/4 of a length. Then he went to Canada, set a track record on the turf, and finished 2nd in a good effort in a graded stake. I think he might have a big race under his belt down here.
Well, that's a good possibility. I think the real question of the afternoon is, will you get through it? Because there's a horse in this race called Roi Danzig.
Now, how do you spell
R-O-I
that?
as in king in French.
Yeah.
Very difficult to pronounce. Woody Stevens, his trainer, pronounces it Roy Danzig. I've always pronounced it Roy Danzig. But a great race caller, obviously, has to go with the official pronunciation. I just hope you get it right when he comes flying down the stretch.
Oh, well, I may just call him Woody's horse, or number 10. Let's take a look at who Roi Danzig has to face. We have King Glorious at the rail, the favorite, 8-5. Mercedes One, second choice, 3.5, with the leading rider, Heriberto Riviera. Then we have Caesar, the undefeated horse, at 8, and 8 the price on Halo Hansen, with Velasquez coming in. The Canadian horse, Charlie Barley, at 6, 330 to 1 shots, Flaming Emperor, Pleasant Line, General Barnett. And then 15 to 1 for Launcher Ruler, who we'll be talking about later. Roi Danzig with Eddie Maple at 8. Scratch the local horse, Stutz Keys. But there are different weights in this race.
Yes, well, this is an allowance stakes where weights are assigned by races won in the past. So you do come up with some unusual situations where King Glorious, who obviously would be the public choice, is getting 3 pounds from Charlie Barley and Mercedes One. You also come up with a situation where a horse like Roi Danzig, if you please, is getting 9 pounds from those horses. So it could come into play. I'm not a big believer in weight as a factor in racing, but why would I be when I look like this?
Back to you, Chris.
All right, thank you, X. Thank you, Dave. You know, no one has made more of a commitment to the sport of thoroughbred racing than the Edward J. DeBartolo Corporation, nearby Youngstown, Ohio, owning tracks in Oklahoma, Remington Park, and Louisiana Downs, home of the $1 million Super Derby in the fall. But it all started here at Thistledown in North Randall, their home state. We talked earlier, too, Mr. DeBartolo, about his feelings on this Ohio Derby Day, 1989.
Well, it's a good feeling. Ohio Derby Day attracts a lot of additional fans and brings in some younger people and creates a lot of excitement. And you can compare that somewhat with the simulcasting of these big races like the Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. Not as big as that, of course, but the interest is developed.
And, of course, it's your home state.
That's right.
Well, one of the strengths of the DeBartolo Corporation is choosing the right people for the right jobs. They have here with Mike Mackey, their general manager, who's back for his 2nd term, I guess you'd say, Mike, and off to a record start here at Thistledown.
Correct, Chris. Thank you. It is the second life here at Thistledown, and our first meet, the Summit meet, broke all records for any meet here in the history of Thistledown without much help from Mother Nature.
The TRA, what does that mean that Thistledown is a member of the Thoroughbred Racing Association?
Well, it's an elite club of 50 of the premier racetracks in the country, and through it we get the top enforcement and highest policing of any sport and any industry.
Mike, what are your hopes for this Ohio Derby Day 1989?
Well, we're going for the records, of course, Chris. We're looking at about 15,000 people here today, but we have a tremendous simulcast network, and I think between on and off track, we're going to exceed the 4 million mark today.
Mike, thank you. It's been a great time. The Ohio Derby Ball was magnificent last night. As always, you're a great host. Good to be back here in Ohio.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Mike Mackey, general manager at Thistledown. The horses are starting to arrive in the paddock for the 55th Ohio Derby. We'll be back with more from Thistledown right after this.
The $25,000 cash countdown is here. Yes, Alabama, the winning feeling has gone wild at the Birmingham Racecourse. Listen to this. $500 will be given away every night through June 22nd. Just fill out the countdown entry blank and you could win $500 each and every night. More good news. $25,000 will be given away June 22nd from all tickets received. Plus, a $2,000 bonus if the winner is present at the drawing. The track is back with even more ways to win big bucks. That's what $79 buys this week at Sarah. Any Sarah Chevrolet, Toyota, Nissan, Volkswagen, Honda, any Sarah brand. Choose from 1,000 cars, trucks, and vans. $79 down, $79 a month. This big week through Monday only. Sarah celebrates the grand opening of Sarah Toyota in Roebuck and Sarah Chevrolet in Gardendale. This week, $79 down, $79 a month. Any Sarah car, truck, or van at any Sarah dealership through Monday only. Hurry.
Fuss with shampoo and conditioner? Who needs it? I want to wash my hair and go. And now I can with Pert Plus. Complete shampoo plus complete conditioner in one bottle. Pert Plus leaves my hair clean, conditioned, and looking terrific. Before, to get results this good, I used shampoo and conditioner. No more. Now, with Pert Plus, I just wash and go.
Pert Plus, shampoo plus complete conditioner in one.
I stained this last year, and it's fading already. Why?
You didn't protect it with Thompson's Water Seal Stain.
Look at that cracking. Guess I used the wrong stain.
You did. Only Water Seal Stain contains Thompson's Water Seal. It seals water out, holds color in, for a freshly stained look year after year.
With Water Seal Stain, the next time won't be for a long time.
Thompson's Water Seal Stain. Beauty that lasts at last.
The game's major champions make up an outstanding field. The world's greatest golfers tee off at the Canadian Open. Complete 4-round coverage starts Thursday afternoon at 4 Eastern live on ESPN.
Well, some of the stars starting to arrive, and let's see who this one is. It's the idea of checking to make sure the right horses are in the right position here. You know, one of the real trademarks of this Ohio Derby has been the appearances almost every year of the Hall of Fame trainer, Woody Stevens. Well, Woody's been quite a story himself this past winter with some illness, having some recent surgery. Pete Axum caught up with him at Belmont Park recently to find out more about his Danzig colt. Roy Danzig was in today, and about the physical condition of one of America's Hall of Fame trainers, Woody Stevens.
I'm not 100%. Of course, it hadn't been that long, and I don't expect to get over it in 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm getting every day I feel better, and I think now the main thing is time. And I've got a great organization in this barn, a lot of good help, and I'm going to sleep late for a while.
The Woodman may not be at the top of his health this year, but he still hasn't lost any of his traditional modesty, as when he talks about the Ohio Derby.
Well, the first time I won was 1955, Art Carroll on Traffic Judge. Then I won it in 79. And it's a lot of money. I think it's $300,000 purse, and the people there have been nice and treated me wonderful, and I'm happy to have a horse to go back with them.
This year's Ohio Derby hopeful, Rod Danzig, a full brother to Danzig Connection who won the Belmont. No, this horse wasn't a Belmont contender, but Ohio, look out. The Woodman is here, and when he's around, somebody gets chopped.
Well, I was very careful with him last summer. He had some little problems. And going into Florida, I began to get into him a little bit, and I thought he was a good horse. And then he got beat a couple of times, and I wasn't too sure. So we shipped to New York. He won. He broke his maiden in Hialeah. Now, his last 2 starts, he's had blinkers on, and he's looked mighty big winning.
Rod Danzig has never even won a stake. In somebody else's hands, you might tend to discount him. But when the Woodman's around, you have to set your clock by it. And if you can't set your own watch, set it by his. It's got 5 Belmont winners inscribed on it.
Well, I think that he's improving, and he's a colt that's very game. He's a good speed horse, and I think he has a future. I believe he'll go on to win some stakes for me.
When you're talking the Woodman, you're talking the Rembrandt of thoroughbred racing. And like all great masters, the Woodman has also had many people follow him and learn from him. Just today, you look at Lord Phil Gleaves, the king of Jersey and Florida, Billy Badgett doing so well in New York, the beauteous and gifted Sandy Bruno, who's really running the outfit this year in New York while Woody is recuperating. And today, David Donk is here to saddle this horse. The lessons to be learned from a master like this are worthy. Speaking of lessons, the real question we're looking at now in the paddock is, will King Glorious learn his lessons, or has he learned his lessons well enough to develop into the star that he once looked like? Chris?
It's It was this victory in last December's Grade 1 Hollywood Futurity that stamped King Glorious as the best in the West. A perfect 5 for 5 with victories in Grade 1, 2, and 3 stakes. He was ranked at the end of his 2-year-old campaign as California's top Triple Crown prospect. But the dark brown speedster still had some growing to do. Trainer Jerry Hollendorfer backed off on the colt after that Futurity win.
Well, he had a bone in his knee that was a little bit underdeveloped, we felt, and we felt like we could have gone either way, and we took the conservative approach and gave the horse the time, and we would have rather been ready for the spring races, and we're doing okay now with him, and the time off did him a lot of good.
Part owner Alan Majorman felt King Glorious didn't get the national recognition he deserved for his undefeated 2-year-old campaign.
To say honestly, I thought we should have had, for his 2-year-old year, won an Eclipse Award. I just thought he performed on the track and did that. We were disappointed we didn't. And, yeah, we had to swallow very hard during the Triple Crown Series. But that's racing. We had options. We could have gone for the races, but we opted not to take a chance with this horse on any type of injury until his knees were fully matured. We gave him the time, and we swallowed hard during all 3 races.
After being away from the races for 4.5 months, King Glorious made his triumphant return on April 30th, winning a 6-furlong sprint at Golden Gate Field by an astounding 21 lengths. The unbeaten string, though, came to an end in his last start, upset as the 1-9 favorite in the Gold Rush Handicap, his first attempt around 2 turns. The reaction of his supporters was one of shock.
Stunned around the nation. I was stunned also. We were stunned, but this game's a game of humility, and no horse wins them all. We think that the horse is, he's undefeated. We think that the owners are 0 for 1, and, we all learned a lot. I think he's a really fine horse, and I think he'll make up for that, so we certainly hope so.
There have also been some equipment changes following that first defeat.
We changed bits on him, and we put a leather prong on him, and he hasn't been nearly as hard to handle. McCarron's very happy with the equipment now, and I did make a slight blinker change for this race. We're going to use some French cups on him instead of keeping him so closed up, and he seemed like he really goes around the turns a lot better with those French cups on, and I think that'll help him here.
Trainer Hollendorfer, who attended nearby Akron University, talked about why he picked the Ohio Derby for King Glorious's first test outside California.
Really, the Ohio Derby, because we're getting a break in the weights. We're going to run with 120 here, and in Minnesota we run with 126. Going 1 1/8 miles for the first time, we felt like that was a pretty good weight break, and we were going to try to take advantage of that here in Ohio.
And there is number 1, King Glorious, coming into the paddock to be saddled. He is now 8-5 on the tote board. That's the 11th race coming up, the Ohio Derby. But the 9th race was 100 grander, the Rose DeBartolo Memorial Handicap at 1 1/4 miles for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, foaled in Ohio, named in honor of the late mother of the Thistledown owner, President Edward J. DeBartolo. And take a look at this, Tougaloo on the outside there, the gray mare. And here is stablemate Fat Emma with Eddie Maple on the front end. And the 6 horse was Cold Morning, who had dueled for the early lead with Fleet Rectory down the backstretch. But as they straightened away in the stretch, it was old Tougaloo, the 6-year-old gray mare, who has taken this race now for 3 years running. In '88, she won it carrying 124 pounds in 205 and 3. Last year, make that 206 and 1 in 2 years ago. Then last year, 205 and 3. And this year, carrying 126 pounds, breaking from post position number 10. Tougaloo, 206 and 2. Victorious again, Heriberto Rivera Jr. again in the irons, 3 straight years for the Rose DeBartolo Memorial Handicap to Tougaloo. 10% of the winnings from Tougaloo goes to Tougaloo College in Tougaloo, Mississippi. Fat Emma coupled in the wagering. That's why they pay the same across the board. And Cold Morning third at $12 to show. Chris?
All right, well, quickly, a couple of our top riders have joined us here. Chris McCarron, you've heard about King Glorious, and Pat Day, who is riding Caesar today. First, a word with Chris McCarron here. A 1:08 workout on Tuesday. You weren't here, but I'm sure you heard about it for King Glorious. Very slow.
That's fast. Was that? Oh, that was a 5/8 of a mile, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5/8, Chris.
Yeah, that's not too fast. It raised a little concern with me on Tuesday when I heard about it, but Jerry's an awful sharp horseman, and I tell you, he wouldn't put this horse on the track if he didn't think he was 100%. So I've still got a lot of confidence in the colt.
Got to ask you real quickly about one of your big projects, Jockeys Across America, July 1st.
That's right, Chris. It's just really going over very well. The riders all around the country have been very cooperative and very responsive, and behind this thing full force, and it's going to be a great day, and it's really going to get the word out around the country and around North America, actually, because Canada's involved also, that this fund is in existence to help disabled riders, and it's really working out well.
Chris, good ride today. Stay right with us here. Turning to Pat Day, the champion of the Belmont, an easy-goer. Pat, congratulations again a week later.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. It just felt great. I was happy that my colt could win and could win so decisively and hopefully regain the status that he had prior to the Derby.
Caesar, tell us about this undefeated colt.
Well, I've only ridden him one time, and he was a colt that was very energetic. He wanted to do it and just didn't seem to have it all together. I'm sure that he's matured somewhat since then, and I look for a big race out of him here this afternoon. He's a colt that I think has a great amount of ability. It's just a matter of getting his coordination and his mentality and get it all together.
Well, it shows the class of the Ohio Derby field. We have riders like Pat Day, winner of the Belmont, Chris McCarron, of course, ridden the top 2 money earners of all time, Ali Sheba and John Henry. They're in the paddock. That's where Chris and Pat are heading, and we'll head there, too, after this commercial break.
The Massachusetts Handicap, New England's legendary race of champions.
8-minute stretch for the money. 3 of them battle. On the inside, Wacoit. In the middle, Tordor.
Join the tradition. Don't miss the 55th running of the $300,000 Massachusetts Handicap, New England's premier thoroughbred race, to be held Saturday, June 24th at Boston's historic Suffolk Downs. Nominations accepted through June 12th.
During the golden age of Rome, Caesar treated his guests to magical evenings. 2,000 years later, he still does. Caesar's Palace. Relive the legend.
The Cardiff Stud Farms of California present the stallion Skywalker, winner of over $2.2 million, including the Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby and Thoroughbred Racing's richest prize, the Breeders' Cup Classic. Skywalker, the classic winner at Cardiff.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear for you. The king of beer, so fresh, so true for you. You got the taste, this bites for you.
Watch 'em run. This is Remington Park, Oklahoma City's much talked about state-of-the-art racetrack with thoroughbred racing from September 29th through April over the all-weather Equitrack racing surface. The 50-day fall meeting features a $1 million stake schedule and a full schedule of turf racing. Be part of a racing success story in the heart of horse country. To bring your stable to Remington Park, call our Horseman's Hotline at 1-800-456-8383.
Lift your heart ready.
A shot looking down at the paddock here at Thistledown. More than 15,000 people on hand day for Ohio Derby Day. Let's see who they like in the field. Well, King Glorious has stayed solid at the morning opening line. He's still 8-5 with the betting public here. Mercedes 1, second choice at 5-2. Caesar 7-1. Halo Hansen at 5. Charlie Barley at 7. Flaming Emperor is a giant price at 85, as is Pleasant Line. And General Barnett, the Ohio bred. Launcher Ruler at 55-1. Wardanzig of Woody Stevens Barn at 5-1. And Sutsky is the 11 horse, has been scratched. Launcher Ruler at 55-1. How about that for a price for a Jack Van Berg trained colt? Well, Dave Johnson had a chance to talk earlier with the Hall of Fame trainer up from Churchill Downs. Here's Dave with Jack Van Berg.
Jack Van Berg, we missed you on the Triple Crown route this year, and there were so many similarities. What'd you think, since you were in the same spot as Charlie with Ali Sheba before the Belmont?
Well, of course, Dave, I was rooting for Charlie. Charlie's a good friend of mine, and he's always been very helpful to me, and I was rooting very hard for him. And you can't take anything away from Easy Gore. He's a good horse, and he ran a super race that day. And when you're going for that third race, it's hard to get it done. You know, you got to have a lot of luck with you and a lot of things to go along with it, and your horse stays sound. They were both very fortunate. Both horses stayed sound all the way through the grind. And but the pressure keeps building up and building up. And of course, with a horse like those horses and a horse like Ali Sheba, I can take pressure every day. I can stand that kind of pressure.
Give us a quick update on Ali Sheba for his fans out there.
Well, he's had 69 mares this year, a total of 69 mares when he's finished. He had the mother of Winning Colors, the Dam of Bet Twice, the Dam of Open Mind, all sold out. He has an awful strong book of mares, probably as strong as any horse went, and he's covered them well. And at the last count, he had 50-some of them in foal at the last count.
Jack, let's switch gears and talk about the Ohio Derby. Why are you here, and what are you looking for?
Well, Dave, I'm here to try to win a race. I mean, this colt has only been out 6 times, and he's been very impressive with his works. His race down there at Remington Park in the Derby was a strong race, and I really thought that day he should have been second. We took him over to Hot Springs, and he kind of got a little tailed off and sick and wasn't at himself. We brought him on up to Kentucky and run him Derby Day up there, and he was 4th, but he was like 7 wide into the first turn and lose so much ground. He came back the other day and was very impressive when he sat back there and just blowed by his horses. When I looked at the chart on all these horses and the speed in this race and everything, this horse could set up very good for him if everything's in. I think he has enough talent to beat him. There's a couple horses in there I don't think would be true 1 1/8 horses when they all settle down to it, and I might be wrong, but this horse will be running on the end where it counts.
That's where it counts.
That's right. If you don't run there, you're in serious trouble.
Launcherula's trainer who knows it all, Jack Van Berg. Pete?
You know, we all in racing have dreams that somehow we'll hit lightning in a bottle. Well, did you ever go to bed at night and dream that you might invent a game that would capture the whole nation? These 2 guys did it. Trivial Pursuit. John Haney, how did you come up with the idea, and what's the feeling?
Well, it came up over a game of Scrabble, as a matter of fact, in Montreal. And the feeling is wonderful. We honestly pinch ourselves every morning.
And Scott Abbott, partner in Trivial Pursuit, your feeling about the concept?
Well, it was a very good one. It was, a great 45 minutes. We spent dreaming it up, and a lot of hard work after that, putting it on store shelves. But it's a good idea.
I'm always curious, when you hit the jackpot like that, and then you get into a business like this, can this business equal it in any way in terms of the excitement?
Well, you get the excitement condensed into 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes in this game, and yeah, I think it can equal it. It's pretty darn exciting at times, like right now.
Each race for us is like another Trivial Pursuit. It honestly is, yeah.
Do you think this horse may go down in some Trivial Pursuit question at some point?
I certainly hope so, and a positive one, too. I certainly hope so.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's go back to Chris.
All right, thank you, Pete. The horses are just starting to come out on the racetrack. Before we tell you more about them, we want to go inside the Daily Racing Form, our America's Turf Authority, and talk to their correspondent here in Ohio, Chuck Scarvelli, about this field for the Ohio Derby. Here's Chuck.
The Ohio Derby has drawn a quality field, and the key to the race, as far as I see it, will be speed. King Glorious has been lucky enough to draw the advantageous #1 hole leaving the gate. And his forte appears to be speed. In almost all of his races, he has been on the lead, and of course, he won 6 or 7 races. Now, he will not have an easy time with the lead today because there's the likes of Mercedes 1, the Florida Derby winner. His races are basically on the lead, as you can see from the past performance charts. There's an unknown quantity in here, a horse called Cesar. And Bert Saunier has brought this horse along slowly, but he has been in front in every point of call on the chart and won all 4 races at 4 different racetracks. And then the Canadian horse, Charlie Barley, is another that likes to run on or near the lead. Adding to the top quartet of horses I've spoken about, Halo Handsome has to be considered on a par with these horses. His last race was in the Jersey Derby, and he was second to Awe Inspiring. I think you all know Awe Inspiring. He's another horse that has a penchant to run on or near the lead. And it might just depend who gets the best position going into the clubhouse turn here, who will be the eventual winner.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Here is the post parade for the Ohio Derby. King Glorious, winner of 6 of 7, favored in every start he's ever run in. That includes today. Front-running speed horse, second to Easy Goer for the 2-year-old title. He is at 8 to 5, his first race outside California, the longest he's ever been asked to run, 1 mile and an eighth. The rider, the great Chris McCarran, newest member of Racing's Hall of Fame. The number 2 horse, and a colt we're familiar with, Mercedes One, richest horse in the field. Won the Grade 1 Florida Derby. He was Canada's 2-year-old champion, a Keeneland Sales yearling. Mercedes One, the only Derby starter to win at this mile-and-a-half distance. He's the second choice now at 5-2. Alberto Junior Rivera is the rider, 11-time Thistledown riding champion. There he is. He won the Rose DeBartolo on Tougaloo a moment ago. The 3 horse is Caesar. Caesar, trained by Bert Saunier, is undefeated at 3, unraced at 2, won 4 for 4 on 4 different tracks with 4 different riders. This his first stakes try, and Pat Day will be in the irons today, the multiple Eclipse Award winner. He won the Ohio Derby back in 1980. There's Pat Day. 8-1 on Caesar right now. Halo Handsome, the 4 horse at 5-1. Strong second at 44-1 in the Jersey Derby after an allowance win at Pimlico. Has cashed a check in 5 of 6 starts. The rider, one of the best, the veterans, George Velasquez. He won the 82 Ohio Derby on Spanish drums. The 5 horses, Charlie Barley down from Canada. Second in the Marine Stakes by a head just this past Sunday. That was at Woodbine. Set a new 1-mile turf record in the earlier start. Third in the Lexington Stakes at Keeneland. And Robin Platts, the rider, won the Ohio Derby in 83. The 6 horse, Flaming Emperor, making his 17th start, still eligible for non-winners of 2. A giant long shot here. Thomas Turner, the regular rider, is on him. The 7 horse is Pleasant Line. Pleasant Line broke his maiden in his first start this year, won by a neck. The April 10th allowance start, a very big price on him, 6 in his last out. James Terry is the regular rider for Pleasant Line, the 7 horse. The 8 horse and the Ohio bred General Barnett, trained by Paul Megson, ridden by Carlos Gotti. The Ohio bred stakes winner, Beulah Park and Restricted Company. The last Ohio bred to win their Derby here was 1975, the Chocolate Soldier, Brent's Prince. The 9 horse in the field, Jack Van Berg's Loncherilla in the purple and gold colors of Jack. It's a gray colt coming off an allowance win at Churchill, 3rd in the Remington Park Derby. A threat because of his late closing style, and Jeff Radosevich is the rider, first time on the horse. The 10 horse rounding out the field of Woody Stevens' barn, Raw Danzig, the son of Danzig, the 86 Belmont winner at 5-1. He has won 2 straight allowance races in New York. He is making his stakes debut. Eddie Maple, a former New York riding champion, is on him. His brother Sam won the 79 Ohio Derby on Smartin. That's the field, 10 to the post for the Ohio Derby. The winner's purse, $180,000. We'll be back with more of our story from Thistledown in a moment.
Rude is air conditioning. Rude, rude, rude.
From her coastlines, across her rivers, to her highest altitudes, dependable Rude heat pumps keep America cool. With a proven record for high efficiency, nothing beats a Rude.
Rude, rude, rude.
So you think you've got big athlete's foot problems, like that annoying itching, terrible cracking, or that awful burning. Well, Bigfoot problems call for Bigfoot relief from Desenex.
Desenex stops the painful itching, cracking, and burning of athlete's foot fast.
And Desenex guarantees you'll be satisfied or your money back.
Money back?
That's right, your money back.
Desenex, the #1 cure for athlete's foot.
You know, for 20 years, people have been asking me, how can I get objective advice about investing? I always tell people, find an independent financial advisor, someone who won't pressure you to buy specific investments. This free book can help. The Schwab Guide to Selecting a Financial Advisor. It doesn't tell you who to choose, it tells you how to choose the right person. An independent advisor who works for you, not Schwab or any other brokerage firm. Here you learn how to find a professional who can give you thoughtful, thorough, objective advice to help you reach your financial goals. This is where you start.
Call today for your free copy of the Charles Schwab Guide to Selecting a Financial Advisor. Call 1-800-876-4800. 1-800-876-4800. That's 1-800-876-4800. Call Schwab now.
It's a colorful July on ESPN. America's finest young athletes go for the gold at the U.S. Olympic Festival. The world's greatest golfers shoot for the green in the British Open and U.S. Women's Open Championships. It's 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue in a Davis Cup duel, while future major leaguers burst into the limelight at the AAA All-Star Game. Plus, see who earns the yellow jersey in the Tour de France. There's a full spectrum of sports in July on ESPN.
Welcome back to Thistledown Racecourse. We're about 6 minutes away from the running of this 55th Ohio Derby. And right now it is King Glorious, still a very solid favorite at 8-5, just as he opened up. Mercedes won at 5-2. As you got a quick shot there of some of the crowd there, more than 15,000 expected today. They're hoping for a new mutual record of maybe a $2 million day here at Thistledown. Well, we told you about the favorites, King Glorious and Mercedes won. How about a long shot for the Ohio Derby? It's that time, the Budweiser long shot.
Friends, Romans, and horse players, lend me your ears. The Budweiser long shot is Caesar. Not only doth his name ring of power and authority, but of his record, look, it is unblemished, 4 for 4. And like his Roman namesake, this giant of a steed, this great Caesar hath traveled far and conquered in many lands, including Gulfstream, the green and gentle Keeneland, the large and awesome Churchill, and here at Thistledown. His local conquest just 3 weeks ago may have been slower than expected, but good friends, the knowledge gained of today's battlegrounds, the plains of Thistledown, may serve him well. And with the enemy consisting of many front runners, the clever Caesar will look to the stars, change his tactics, and attack from the flank. So, in closing, let me say that we come not to bury Caesar, but to bet on him, as today's Budweiser long shot.
What a classic Budweiser long shot. Author Tom Dawson deserves some credit there. Thank you, Dave Johnson. And the 3-horse, Caesar, is 9-1 right now. There you see the favorite. King Glorious has gone to 2-1. Mercedes 1 has dropped to 3-1. Halo Handsome at 2. Charlie Barley 8-1. That is a surprise. Halo Handsome is 2-1. Is that right here? Yep, 2-1. He was 44-1 his last start at the Jersey Derby. Flaming Emperor, big price at 99. Pleasant Land at 99. General Barnett at 99. Launcher Ruler, Jack Van Berg's at 49-1. And Raw Danzig at 7-1. Stutz Keys, again, the 11-horse, was scratched. That's an update on the odds. There you see the starting gate set 1.1 miles away from the starting line, and we'll be back with a Breeders' Cup Championship.
Another Breeders' Cup Championship moment. On a windswept afternoon at New York's Aqueduct, 81-year-old sportsman John Galbraith sent proud truth to the post in the $3 million Breeders' Cup Classic. And the truth would prevail as he came from far back to catch the leader in deep stretch.
Proud Truth is right at his neck. Gate Dancer is game. Proud Truth ahead. Those two a driving finish. Proud Truth has won it.
Proud Truth gave an even prouder John Galbraith his Breeders' Cup Championship moment.
For a nice cold bud?
And where does she come from?
Hull & Smith Horse Fans, a service for horsemen by horsemen. For over 2 decades, the people of Hull & Smith have set the standards in the business of transporting horses. Gene and Judy Hull head up a staff of full-time experienced professionals. We provide expert personal handling, superb accommodations, and the finest in safe, modern equipment. We ship your horses anytime, anywhere, safely and dependably. At Hull & Smith, it's our tradition and our commitment.
Watch 'em run. This is Remington Park, Oklahoma City's much talked about state-of-the-art racetrack with thoroughbred racing from September 29th through April over the all-weather Equitrack racing surface. The 50-day fall meeting features $1 million stake schedule and a full schedule of turf racing. Be part of a racing success story in the heart of horse country. To bring your stable to Remington Park, call our Horseman's Hotline at 1-800-456-8383.
Let your heart
And that's King Glorious, #1, who is the 2-1 favorite just a couple minutes before post time. Well, let me take a look at this field. In looking at King Glorious and my handicapping, well, he's the best horse, but you have to ask yourself two questions. Can he win today? Well, probably. Should I bet on him? Only in the exact. If he does win, then I want one of my horses second under him in the exacta ticket. But I'm hoping for a longer price with another horse on top and maybe King Gloria second, or my two long shots first and second. So I'm looking for two more. The Bud long shot, Caesar, well, even though his mama, Countess Fager, could run, and even though Pat Day's here, I think Caesar needs a softer spot. Charlie Barley, probably the best affirmed colt ever. Excellent dam as a race mare, au printemps, but he has shown flashes of brilliance. He may be on his way back, even though he carries 123 pounds, the coat top weight, even though he ran last Sunday. Charlie Barley is my #1 choice. I like his style of racing, too, in this one. The danger horse to use in the exacta, Roi Danzig. Breaking the weights. He's sharp now. His last two, both victories, and those two victories opened some eyes, some jaded eyes at Belmont, but it was no surprise to Woody Stevens. On the day of the Florida Derby, I was with Woody, and I said, who's your Belmont horse this year? He said, Roy Danzig. He said Roy Danzig because Woody doesn't speak French. Well, Woody knew back in March that this was a good horse. And Woody, I know he didn't race a week ago in the Belmont Stakes, but I think he got a hell of a shot here this afternoon. And I'm using him in my 1-5-10 exacta box. What are you guys using down there?
All right, Dave, well, the Axe has been studying his program in the form here, and Axe speed seems to just jump out in this race when you talk about it.
Well, there is a lot of speed in here, but watching the horses in the paddock, it's fascinating to watch a horse like Mercedes One, who has been asked to dance every dance on the dance card for 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, looks terrific in the paddock. He's prancing around. He looked wonderful. Roy Danzig is kicking down the stall. Now, sometimes that's a positive, sometimes that's a negative. You don't want them too worked up. But Roy Danzig was, Rod Danzig, I should say, as Dave will undoubtedly correct me. Just absolutely looks full of himself. I think those are the two horses to really consider, and I think they'll be heavily considered, particularly Rod Danzig in Midway, Kentucky, where Woody Stevens is celebrating yet another of his well-deserved honorariums.
Woody Stevens Day Midway. Hello, Woody. Hope you're enjoying the show, and hope you'll enjoy Ron Danzig's race today. Pete, I got to ask you, I'm looking at the tote board, and all of a sudden, Halo Handsome, who we saw thrown out at 41-1 at the Jersey Derby, strong second on the George Velasquez, has now jumped to the second choice here at 5-2 after he opened at 8-1.
Well, I guess it's tough to get away from those halos. It's tough to knock them, but this is one that I certainly don't see at that price. Dave has given you one exacta box. I'll give you another. I want Mercedes One, Charlie Barley, and Roy Danzig.
There's the blindfold on Caesar, our Bud long shot. They said he's been a fine gate horse until he got here. In his allowance race here, he went crazy. Well, you see, he doesn't care much for that blindfold either. And now Pat Day says, I don't care much for you. Dave bails out, gets off of Caesar. The blindfold, of course, something the starters have insisted on because this horse has not handled himself well in the gate here at Thistledown. They're trying to keep him calm. You see, he doesn't care much for this. Now the assistant starters have gotten up behind Caesar, and they are carrying the mighty Caesar into stall 3 here to get him set up. And then you'll see Pat Day on the ground now as he'll remount.
He's looking at those assistant starters and saying, "Et tu, Brute."
That's right. Halo Handsome loads in again. He is right now the second choice, remarkably so, at 5-2. Here comes Charlie Barley carrying the pride of the Trivial Pursuit gang that Pete talked to earlier, and John Haney and Scott Abbott. Let's go up to the top of the stands again. The man who'll call the Ohio Derby and his final comments on this field to Dave Johnson.
And there is Pleasant Line, a son of Pleasant Colony. James Terry really warmed this horse up. He was really working this horse up into a sweat on the backstretch. I can't imagine that he's going to go and try for the lead with this one against all the other speed in this race, but we'll just have to see. The only Ohio bred, that was the 8 horse that you saw, Jockey wearing the brown colors. There's the gray colt launcher motor trained by Jack Van Berg, and here's Roi Danzig with Eddie Maker. All in line. Mile and an 8. They're off, and Flaming Emperor came in on Charlie Barley right at the start. As the field moves past the stands for the first time, King Glorious along the inside takes the early lead. And then there goes Caesar into the second spot. Halo Handsome is racing third. Mercedes 1 moves to the inside fourth. Charlie Barley is caught 5 wide. Wad Danzig is next. Then comes Flaming Emperor along the inside, followed by Pleasant Line. After that, it's General Barnett. And 2 back to the trailer, Launch Arula. As they move to the backstretch, it's King Glorious with McCarran, winging it on the front end in front by 5. Caesar holds the second spot by a length and a half. On the inside, Mercedes 1. Third at this point by a head. Halo Handsome on the outside is fourth by 3 parts of a length. And Flaming Emperor, the long shot, gains a bit on the inside. Rod Danzig between horses in tight quarters, but now finding room and flying up on the outside. He's third. Now moving down the backstretch after the half in 45 2/5 seconds. It's King Glorious, but he's backing up. Here comes Rod Danzig on the outside, charging up now toward the inside of the leader. It's Caesar holding the third spot, then Mercedes 1. Along the inside, it's Flaming Emperor in 5th. 3 back to Charlie Barley 6th. Pleasant Line is 7th. Launcher Ruler on the outside, followed by General Barnett, and the trailer is Halo Handsome. Moving to the top of the stretch, it's still King Glorious. McCarran on board and in front by 2.5 lengths, and Rod Danzig is in the second spot on the outside. Now straightening away in the stretch, King Glorious, the favorite, draws clear by 4. Rod Danzig is in second position. Caesar is racing third, and down the stretch they come in the Ohio Derby. It's King Glorious who will make every pole a winning one, with Chris McCarran aboard, taking the Ohio Derby by 4 lengths. It's Rod Danzig finishing second, a gap of 7 lengths farther back, and the Bud Long shot, Caesar, was third. Final time, 1 minute 50 2/5 seconds. King Glorious is back. He has never been worse than second, and he has proved himself this afternoon to be his old self. King Glorious, unofficially the winner of the Ohio Derby.
Pete, I got to tell you, I was stunned. I thought King Glorious was done at the 3/4 mark. Roy Danzig seemed to have him well in sight.
Well, you know, it seemed like he'd been trying to bear out in recent races, and it looked like he was going to do that again. But somehow Chris McCarran gathered him together, and he just drew out.
The King is back. California's King Glorious, his first time away from the West Coast. Impressive winner of the Ohio Derby.
Here's to you, America, from McGee Dodge, with the deals you need on the cars you want. Right now, get your choice. 0% financing or $750 cash back on sleek Dodge Shadow at McGee Dodge. One of the best values in its class, with 45 standard features, including front-wheel drive, AM/FM stereo, and the Dodge 770 protection plan. Get great value with 0% financing or $750 cash back. So here's to you, Birmingham, with the best financing, highest cash back, lowest price. McGee Dodge.
3 of the best reasons to watch Cable 22 on Wednesday night is FYI. FYI Meet the Manager and FYI Live Call-In. Join host Ron Crewman, stay informed with Public Affairs for Birmingham. Wednesday night at 8 o'clock on Birmingham Cable 22.
Per pound, 5 times stronger than steel. And is in the protective vests worn by police. It makes up the unique belt of Road Handler Treadlock radials at Sears. Tough tires you can trust.
At BIC, we've been studying all the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. Now BIC presents our solution, introducing the new BIC Metal Shaver. The patented BIC Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. Now, instead of stretching, start reaching for a new BIC Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a better shave, and that's no stretch.
Heads up. Be on the lookout for the world's strongest woman and the fastest water skiers on Earth. All on Guinness World of Sports, Wednesday night on ESPN.
Well, there he is, King Glorious, the unofficial winner of the Ohio Derby. The brown colt by Navis, a horse that never won past 6 furlongs. Well, his son has just bettered him here, winning in 1 mile and 1/8. There's Chris McCarran at such a skillful ride. It looked like he was done at the 3/4 pole, but then found another gear and pulled away from another king, from Wad Danzig, the horse of Woody Stevens' stable. King Glorious bred in California by Halo Farms, the owners, along with 4M Stables. Jerry Hollendorfer, the trainer, did a masterful job. Everybody gasped when he struggled 5/8 and 108 plus on Tuesday in a workout. Then galloped pretty well and came back, but everybody was still wondering, could he get the distance? Could he go around 2 turns? He's answered those questions today, and Dave Johnson will show us how the King did it.
Well, when you see something like this set up on the backstretch with King Glorious in front by a mile, well, not quite a mile, but a pretty good margin, maybe 9 or 10 lengths. There's the Bud Longshot Caesar second. And on the outside with the white cap, that's Raw Dawn Danzig, who will finish third. When you see this happen, most probably you could tear your tickets up on the front runner, because it looked like the only way King Glorious could win would be wire to wire, and it looks like they're going to overtake him. But did Chris McCarron have something left with his horse as he starts to pump away, moving to the far turn? They simply can't gain on this horse. And yes, Chris, this horse did find another gear, and yes, a good horse can come back again. And take a look at King Glorious, who is the California bred who carried 120 pounds to victory this afternoon, and did it a fifth of a second faster than the last 2 winners of the Ohio Derby, Lost Code and Jim's Orbit. They both clocked in at 150 and 3. McCarron still staying with this horse, looking under his arm to make sure that nobody is gaining in the late stages. The 3-year-old King Glorious adds his name to the list as the 55th winner of the Ohio Derby.
All right, David, you see the winner's circle presentations there as King Glorious has come from California and done it very impressively here today. Edward J. DeBartolo's granddaughters, Lisa, Nicole, and Tiffany, with the presentation.
It's just a pure and natural beer for you. So icy cold, so crisp, so clear.
Of all the beers that are cold filtered, only one has that distinctively clean, crisp taste. Budweiser, cold filtered and beechwood aged for over 110 years.
This Bud's for you.
The Massachusetts Handicap, New England's legendary race of champions.
Little stretch for the money. 3 of them battle. On the inside, Wacoit. In the middle, Tordor.
Join the tradition. Don't miss the 55th running of the $300,000 Massachusetts Handicap, New England's premier thoroughbred race, to be held Saturday, June 24th at Boston's historic Suffolk Downs. Nominations accepted through June 12th.
Most car accidents happen in a showroom. People buy the wrong car. They want a car as quick as a Saab, as roomy as a Saab, as safe as a Saab, as reasonably priced as a Saab. But they don't test drive a Saab. Don't buy the wrong car. Visit your Saab dealer for a test drive. It's fun, it's free, and there's no risk involved.
The Eclipse Award of Merit, the top honor in thoroughbred racing, was presented this year to Edward J. DeBartolo, the leading owner of thoroughbred racetracks in America, featuring Remington Park at Oklahoma City, the most innovative facility in the history of racing, Louisiana Downs, home of the $1 Million Super Derby, and Thistledown, the newly remodeled showpiece for the Ohio Derby. Remington Park, Louisiana Downs, Thistledown, the 3 jewels that crown the Eclipse Award-winning DeBartolo Corporation's commitment to the sport of kings.
Welcome back to the winner's circle in Ohio, as the Ohio Derby has now been made official, and it is King Glorious from flag fall to that's all, led at every call as he has done in most of his career. We'll take a look at the payoff: 640, 460, and 320. And once again, King Glorious, in his 8th career start, has always been the favorite. And he's always made his backers happy, except for just 1 race. 7 of 8, he's won 150 and 2. Roy Danzig was second, and the Bud Longshot, a very impressive third. Let's go to Pete Axel.
I'm here with the 1-2 riders here, Chris McCarron and Eddie Maple. Eddie, let me ask you first. You moved up boldly with Rod Danzig, and from my vantage points, I thought you were going to go by.
Well, if I were sitting in the stands, Pete, I probably would have said the same thing. I mean, from where I was at, I made a little bit of run down the backside, just as smooth as I could, and when I got a couple lengths off of Chris, you know, then I didn't know. You know, I just figured, well, it's probably coming time for him to ask his horse to run, and I'll know in another 16th of a mile if he's got any horse or not, you know.
We're looking at the rerun here. Chris, you comment. I thought your horse might have been trying to bear out a little bit.
He didn't get right down on top of the fence for me around the first turn, and as we straightened down the backside, a real strong gust of wind came up, and it was going like across the track, and it didn't help my situation any because he was wanting to lean out a little tiny bit, but the wind pushed him out even further. But as he went on down the backside, he got himself back together and everything, and all the way from the half-mile pole on, he ran very straight, and he never tried to leave the fence again. And as you can see, he finished very well.
It appeared that you were able to gather him together into a straight course. In layman's terms, how do you do that? Is it a matter of getting him to change leads at the right time, or what goes into that to sort of settle a horse and get him to run a straight course to the wire?
Well, it all depends on the type of horse you're riding, and it all depends on what lead they're on as far as the leads go. But with this particular horse, the other day, last time I rode him, he tried to get out a little bit going into the first turn, and I tried to manhandle him, Pete. I tried to keep him in with my strength, and it didn't work at all. He just fought me, and I wound up having to take hold of him too much, and I think I choked him down a little bit. I think that's basically why he didn't finish as well for me. I had it in my mind today. I discussed it with Jerry. We're just going to let him run free, let him do what he wanted to do. If he wanted to lug out a little tiny bit, I was going to let him do it as long as I wasn't bothering anybody on my outside. And he just went 3/8 of a mile, or half a mile or so, and decided he wanted to go back down in there, so I let him.
Seemed to get the job done. Let's go back to you, Chris.
All right, thank you, Pete. King Glorious was the first winner of $1 million race ever to run in the Ohio Derby. He showed his class today, and a great training job by Jerry Hollendorfer. Remember, he had the new French blinkers, kind of open blinkers on him, a new leather prong bit. He had a great rider in Chris McCarron. And he got to the front and said, "Catch me if you can," and they couldn't. Be back in a moment.
I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Well, if you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Because everything else is just a light.
We can live with that. Yeah.
For more than 4 decades, the Keeneland Thoroughbred Sales have produced a parade of classic winners, including 39 American champions. Horses purchased at Keeneland have won all of the classic races worldwide and the richest prizes in thoroughbred racing. 1988 champions Winning Colors, Risen Star, and Ali Sheba all were bought at the Keeneland Sales in Lexington, Kentucky, source of the classic horse.
In the glory days of Rome, Caesar entertained his guests with the most spectacular sporting events in all the empire. 2,000 years later, he still does. Caesar's Palace. Relive the legend.
The Bond Court Hotel, Cleveland's newest and most luxurious downtown hotel. Over 450 guest rooms and suites, including executive levels featuring concierge service, private key access floors, and lounge. Treat your palate to the Bistro restaurant, offering a wide range in dining selections. And the Continental Lounge, famous for its lunch buffet and daily specials. Complete meeting and banquet facilities for groups of any size. Our professional staff will help you plan the perfect event, whatever the occasion. Cleveland's finest in comfort and style, the Bond Court Hotel.
Back at the Ohio Derby at Thistledown, it's official. King Glorious was the runner-up last year to Easygoer 2-year-old championship balloting. He missed 4 months because of that injury. He has no shot this year for the 3-year-old Eclipse Award, but he's going to have a lot of shots in stakes races around the country. And also, Woody down there in Kentucky, you're going to have a lot of fun with Roy Danzig. Chris?
All right, thank you, Dave, very much. And I tell you, very exciting for Ted Aroni, the owner there, and also Alan Majorman. Let's get a quick final thought from Pete Axel.
You know, one of the virtues that maybe we don't make enough of on the racetrack is patience. And I think you have to take the owners and the trainer of this horse, King Glorious. They waited. They could have rushed this horse. They could have destroyed him. They waited. Maybe they're back on just the right track. It certainly was the right track today, wasn't it, Chris?
Well, that it was. It was a pair of kings coming down the stretch. King Glorious and Rod Danzig, as you see the order finish. Launch Ruler, Jack Van Berg's Pleasant Line, Flaming Emperor, Charlie Barley, the Canadian horse, 7th. Mercedes won disappointing 8th. General Barnett, Halo Handsome, second choice, ran last. The Ohio Derby of 1989 has been brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By the Thoroughbred Racing Association, assuring the highest racing standards. Thistledown is a TRA member track. By Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, relive the legend. By the DeBartolo Corporation, building today for the next century. Charts and statistics, courtesy of the Daily Racing Form. America's Turf Authority. Accommodations for ESPN provided by the Bond Court Hotel. The only thing we overlook is the North Coast. Join us next Saturday from Boston for the Massachusetts Handicap. This has been an ESPN Sports presentation. So long, everyone, from Ohio.